Hey, Sarah. Yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. All my sessions, Thursdays. Thursdays always run over, and then I decided to eat before streaming, for once. So, yeah, now I don't have to eat on stream. I ate as fast as I could, because that's very healthy. You got your scrimming again? Nice, mate. Is Shento hydrate? Okay. We'll talk about that, Renazi. We'll go in detail on all the juice and the sauce. Nice bedhead. Thanks, man. Hair looking good today. Thank you. There are two people. We got our bald server tag, which I did a poll on, which I think was pretty stupid because I feel like I just knew exactly what was going to happen. You're both of those guys? Yeah, I respect it. Oh, goodness. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitch. If you can get hair like this always, it's perfect for anime cosplay. Yeah, I mean, this is just when I'm shampooed. And it's not super humid. If it's humid, it's really humid right now, so I have to shampoo it for it to be this fluffy. Otherwise, it's just really humid outside. So, I think it my earbuds. It's your Spilo Spinner. What are we playing today? Well, we're gonna finish the support perks guide, and then tier list wise, I don't know. I had a couple of ideas for tier lists. Maybe I'll let you guys decide on what we do. Hello, Music Kit. Same. When am I going bald? I don't know. I can't really tell if my hairline's receding or not. I have I've talked about I have a widow's peak, but I've had a widow's peak, like my whole family, all the men in my family have widow's peaks since we were like really young. So I don't think my hairline's receded at all yet, but yet. What should we title? Support perks guide for season 17. Hero design tier list with perks. Yeah, I was thinking about that, or just doing like how fundamentally changed or important are perks to a character. Somebody suggested, I forget what terms they used, but I like the way that they termed it. It was like, how integral are the perks into the character's gameplay loop, or how different are they? Boosted the title, get the extra engagement. Cheers, Novacore. Welcome. The stool sampler. Hey. Well, hello. Your hair started graying a few years ago? Yeah. Can I sign Beaver's birthday card, if I don't mind? I'm always down, but I mean this as respectfully as I possibly can. It's more of an insult to me, but does Beaver even know who I am? I don't think I've said a single word to Beaver. Like, ever. I know Beaver, the streamer guy, but I've never spoken with Beaver ever. What's my favorite album of all time? Ooh, that's a tricky one. Forget Not Slow Down by Violent K is really good. Boston by Boston is really good. You think he'd appreciate it? Well, if he'd appreciate it, sure, I'll sign it. Sure. Top greatest album of all time. There's also the Fleetwood Mac's album. I forget what. Rumors is really freaking good. Do me in Discord? Okay. Do nothing but play Stamos. Still gonna watch this? Fair enough. Which supports are the best perks? So I guess we'll get started in a few minutes. We'll chat just a little bit first. You know, we're warming up. You know, we're just chilling. I drank all my orange juice today. I'm out of orange juice. I have a problem. Anna, definitely, maybe, probably, possibly. I'd have to look again. Definitely used to be Anna, but Nade Splash has gotten nerfed, and Nano's gotten nerfed, and Nade itself has gotten nerfed. That's like half my diet. Yeah, that's true. What was my favorite album of all time? I think the ones I mentioned are definitely up there. It's hard to beat that. Yeah. Anna would definitely be up there. Yeah, of course, GKB. Cheers, mate. Metal and Deathcore. I'd put Michael Jackson's Thriller. Yeah, Thriller is great. Thriller's great.
Two lefts don't make a right is better, but that might be the early 2000s nostalgia talking.
That's definitely nostalgia talking. It's a decent album, but it's by far their weakest album, I think. I think if you're going to go that far back, I mean, that one has some bangers for sure, but I think, I don't think it's their strongest album. It's fun, though. My job squeezes fresh orange juice every day. Dude. Frick. Wait, do I have any metalcore albums in the top? Not really. I like individual songs. Everchanger by Invent Animate is really good. Of Mice and Men is okay. Graveyou from Invent Animate's really good. Actually, I like that one a lot. Spicy, thank you for the sub. Yeah. Okay, you DM me? Okay, let's sign this birthday card here then. Wait, why did it open that message? Of course. I will sign. How should I sign this birthday card? Spilo? Hi, you don't know me. I barely know you. It's your birthday today. Wow, that's great. Birthdays are just great. Today being your birthday heavily implies that you will have a great day. I am wishing that on your behalf, that your day would be great. Here's to wishing that your day, this day being your birthday, is great, not just because it is a great day, parentheses, birthday, but also just because it's great because you're great. That implies the greatness isn't just about the day, but about the birth that the day is celebrating, if you get my drift. The drift meaning that you are great, but also the day is great, but also that the day is great because you are great. There are a lot of assumptions in this statement. See previous statement that I don't really know you, but I think it's safe to say that anyone named after a woodland creature that isn't that's not tick, louse, rabbit, field mouse, or skinwalker is probably not a federal, should be capitalized, I feel like, federal criminal. That assumption may be dangerous but it is one I will make nonetheless. I certainly hope that this assumption will not come back to bite me in at a future point in time, although I highly doubt such a possibly inaccurate assumption would have any real ramifications on my personal or professional standing, considering that I am not publicly endorsing your monetary gains of streaming or any content that you put out. It would be both foolish and headstrong to commit to supporting any of your criminal and unethical devices without really understanding the reasons why you do these criminal things. I am sure you have your own justifications, and I know that even the most desperate of woodland criminals have their reasons. I have seen an episode of Breaking Bad, and I understand the life of a drug lord. Even the most desperate, depraved, and deviant criminal as yourself probably has a redeeming side, just one that is not publicly seen. That being said, I cannot in good conscience wish you a happy birthday, because that could be construed as an endorsement of your life, which, because of the vast quantity of harm and pain you have caused thousands of others, doesn't seem sensitive to your victims or even remotely moral at all. Have a day. Hopefully your reign of terror ends soon and your intergalactic empire falls into shambles sooner rather than later. Spilo. Okay. So like I said, I don't really know Beaver that well, so I wanted to be, sensitive to that. I guess we can get started here pretty soon. Good angles, yes. You have a way with words. Thank you, Daniela. Right. Support guide, perks. Anna. Now, Anna, it's dark. One second. I need to type up another one of those for you. Is it your birthday? It was yesterday? Okay. Let me type it in Twitch chat. No, I'll type it here. I'll type it to you in Twitch chat here then. Everybody say happy birthday to THK. Dear THK, I have met you in person. That was a bad day. I hope that your day is better than mine was on that day. There you go. Okay. My birthday was the 3rd, so like, where's your beautiful sonnet? You're not even getting a type. Dear Daniela, your birthday was on the 3rd. 3rd sounds like turd. That is crass and gross. I hope that your day was not crass and not gross, but was good. I don't know anything about you. You know very little about me. That means that we're on equal footing, which means that I can safely and with good conscience wish you a belated happy birthday on the 3rd of July. Anna. Nobody's allowed to have any more birthdays. If it's your birthday, you're just not allowed to be born. Sorry. Okay. Anna used to have probably the most broken perks in the game because Nade did a lot of damage, which we're referring to her biotic. I gotta move my freaking... I have to... Dude, my hair, like, it looks like a rug. I have to move my face cam. This is like the 4th time we've started this segment. And we're going to get it one of these days. One day. One day. Like, it looks like a rug. I look like it's gone. It's just... Yeah, I look like the Beatles. I look like I'm British. There. They get a little hairline. No! Get the hairline action in there, right? Ah! I'm jump scaring myself! Okay, I just don't care. If it looks terrible, I don't care anymore. I do read... No, I do not read YouTube chat, Moby Draw. Sorry. Okay. Anna. Anna had, like, the most broken perks, but she's been nerfed a bunch of times. Let's start off with Biotic Bounce. Biotic Bounce used to do a lot more than 25 damage and healing, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's really, really freaking strong. The reason why it's so strong is the fact that it doesn't do a lot of damage, a lot of healing, but it reapplies the anti. In other words, if I select the anti-heal effect here, let me get the perk thing here. Yeah, 50 damage. Yeah, okay. Okay, so... Oh, I guess I already have ult, so I can't do it. Oh, what is... I literally can't... Like, look... Like, okay. Wait, that didn't help me at all. So it means that you can miss the nade, but okay, I didn't really demonstrate it there, but the second bounce does apply the anti-heal effect, which is really where it's really powerful. It's still a very consistent perk in terms of value, so using it to just hit more nades, do more damage, do more healing is pretty useful. But the two main uses for Biotic Bounce are in duels, you're allowed to hit yourself with a little bit more healing and hit whoever's on top of you with a little bit more damage. So it's really good in 1v1s, or it's decent in 1v1s. And or, oh no, I missed my nade. Oh no, I got a lucky bounce. I actually did miss my nade. So I would say any situations where there's like either you're fighting a lot of people in small rooms, or the opposite extreme, a lot of people are fighting, you're fighting like really, really far and having a hard time landing nades. Biotic Bounce is just kind of free. I know everybody always picks Biotic Bounce, but I think it's important to kind of clarify that there are specific circumstances where you should pick Biotic Bounce, and then there's other circumstances where I don't think you should have to. Groggy's really good. Groggy is really good. So enemies waking from Sleep Dart are slowed and take 50 damage over 2 seconds. If you have a tank that you can consistently sleep, the 2-second slow is really freaking strong. That could be Malga, that could be Roadhog, that could be Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball gets murked by Groggy when you hit the sleep on Wrecking Ball, even Winston. But it's not just that too. Again, if you find yourself taking duels a lot, yes, the 50 damage doesn't matter a lot to tanks, but the 50 damage does matter a lot to squishies. So there's actually a little bit of nuance with this. If you're finding yourself hitting a lot of sleep darts, so there's a tank to abuse, Groggy is actually really, really good, really underrated. Biotic Bounce is just the safer, more consistent choice, but the other one's good too.
Favorite perk also Bio Bounce is situationally good if people are holding corners and you don't want to swing the corner, since you care more about the anti than the damage in team situations.
Hey, Semba. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world to be said that where like Groggy just feels disgusting and dirty, but I mean, it's good, so use it. So yeah. Not likely Moby draws because I don't think you need the advanced text to get value out of your anti-nade. I think that it's just pretty consistent to land regardless. Now, like her minors, where there's like some discussion and more nuance than I think people understand, I think her majors likely also have a lot of nuance. So Shrike is the obviously most broken one, so broken that I told them when we first initially testing that it needed to get nerfed right away, and they did nerf it pretty quickly. But it basically single-handedly thrust Ana into the meta because double nano is just ridiculously broken. But Shrike has been nerfed pretty significantly. I believe it was reduced by 2 seconds. I think someone will have to fact check me on this, but the duration is significantly reduced. Not to where it's pointless or bad, it's very good, but there is now an argument for certain situations where Headhunter could be good. The main value of Shrike is consistently, 2 seconds, 8 to 6, is the self-defense. The offensive output is really good, but you could basically have a defensive, and basically one of the best defensive cooldowns, support ults in the game. You can basically make yourself almost invulnerable, especially if you nade, because you have a lot of effective HP, and your heal heals you for more and so on. But you can also nano somebody else too, so it's really, really, really freaking good. Headhunter is underrated. It's not a full crit, so I'll demonstrate what that means. It's not double damage like every other crit in the game or most crits in the game. It's only 50%. And the bad thing about Headhunter is it doesn't quite change breakpoints. I think that's by design, otherwise it could be too strong, but it doesn't change a lot of breakpoints. It does mean that you could tap 225 HP. It does mean that you can do this and then just throw anti-nade and they die, right? Did I get a crit on hitting her head? Okay, no, I'm just crazy. But yeah, I mean, basically the thing with Headhunter is it's really, really quite good. It's just that Shrike is going to be a little bit more consistently though. The biggest problem with Headhunter today is that it's just kind of throws off your muscle memory in terms of how you want to be aiming with Ana. A lot of Ana aim is more about precision with making sure that you hit the target, but not super specific about where you hit the target overall, which means that a lot of Ana players, when it comes to this kind of up and down placement of crosshair, it's just not quite as important. It's just important to get the crosshair on the target and hit the shot, unlike that. So the problem that I see with Headhunter is most Ana players that I see using it, even Ana players with like pretty good aim, they just don't hit that many headshots. So it's more along the lines of like our thousands of hours of muscle memory just not going as easily into Ana as it is with other characters. Case in point, my Ana is probably one of my strongest characters when I'm warm on her, and yet my Widowmaker sucks, right? It's the fact that I have to aim for the head that generally makes my aim a little bit worse. And like I said, the breakpoints just aren't as consistent. That being said, I do think it's underrated. I think in situations where you don't need any self-defense at all, you're poking from range basically consistently, and you have adapted your muscle memory a little bit, you could probably get a lot of mileage out of Headhunter. I don't think it's been fully explored as much as it deserves. But I will say Shrike and Biotic Balance are probably going to be a little bit more consistent to self-defense. Groggy and Headhunter just a little bit more high risk, high reward. Yeah, just nobody uses Headhunter. And I don't think that's necessarily because it's bad. It's just awkward or tricky or different. Okay. That being said, we're going to move on here. I don't think you could headshot teammates. I think that would be way too gimmicky and impossible to balance because the vast majority of people would not do it consistently in ranked in console or PC. And then the people that would just push breakpoints to such an absurd level that would be almost impossible to balance. Now, you could say the same thing for damage, but the difference with damage is that it's a lot more, you have to be a lot more involved in what you're doing, and the enemy team has counterplay with it. There is no counterplay for accelerating the amount of healing that you do onto a target that wants to be shot by you. You get what I'm saying? Yes, Daniela, yes, you can absolutely argue that Headhunter is better for consistent self-defense, but the problem when you talk about especially high-level Overwatch is you're not as concerned about consistent self-defense as you're about, oh my gosh, they're going to have Nano Primal or Pulse Bomb or Dragon Blade, and the ults are just countered by self-nano. So you're a little bit more weak in what we call the neutral without the ultimates, but when they get those ultimates, Nano Shrike is Shrike plus self-nade, you just live stuff. You just don't die to ultimates, really. So it's a more consistent output, but you have weak points there. Right. Okay, Baptiste. Now, Baptiste has gotten some work on his perks, and some of his perks I actually think are pretty cool, but there's still a pretty clear hierarchy here. We'll highlight those really fast. So the first ones we're going to be looking at is Field Medicine, which means when your immortality field is destroyed, I don't think when it expires. I believe just when it's destroyed, it restores 80 health to allies and 40 health to you. It's not a ton, but it's a decent amount of free value, and any amount of self-sustain for Baptiste is really, really good. Now, more often than not with Bap, you're probably going to be using Immortality Field on yourself about 40-50% of the time, just due to the nature of how the team fights break out. That being said, 40 extra health, even with the DPS passive factored in, is really nice. That can be a big deal for keeping yourself alive. It's just free value. Now, automated healing is also pretty free value as well. I won't demonstrate that, but basically when you pop your ultimate, you fire periodic shots at random allies. I believe they prioritize lower health allies, but I'm not sure, where they restore 30 health. It's nice. It's just something that may or may not be super, super useful. I don't feel like this one has been fully explored as yet, but the problem, especially in higher levels with this one, is that often more than not, your Baptiste window is going to have a limited sight line, because the enemy team is going to hide behind a wall, or your team's going to push, or your team's going to kite or back up. And so you're not going to be able to see very many people with your window. That means that you might not be able to get the full value out of automated healing consistently, but you will be able to get the full value of field medicine consistently. It's not that automated healing is bad. It's just, again, the consistency of perks is a thing that's valued a lot. Now, that being said, you are not all pro players. You should absolutely go try out automated healing. Try it in situations when you have a lot of teammates on your screen in the middle of a fight and see what kind of mileage they could get out of it, because I think that could be a world where that's useful. But in terms of consistency, especially when you're being pressured or dove, 40 health for yourself, 80 health for allies is something that's very consistently valuable. Yeah. So I think you should experiment with it more. Yeah, you need LOS for it. Okay, so majors. This one is also something they've been tweaking with continually as well. So Assault Burst has changed a lot since it was initial release. Regenerative Burst, so that's going to be your shift heal right there, now provides BAP with 30% increased attack speed for 4 seconds. It does not grant double healing to allies below half health. Now, I think that also applies to BAP. Let me double check that really fast. So what that means is you get attack speed, but you don't get an accelerated heal over time. Let me double check that. So because you get an accelerated heal with BAP when you're under half health. Is that crazy, or is that double? Was that extra health? Wait a second here. I don't think there's more.
That's bitter.
Yeah, only applies to allies within the lamp. Because this is the reason why I'm confused here is because this has been changed recently. Let's try this out again. I might need to check the wiki here. Yeah, it's definitely higher without the perk. Okay, sad. Okay, so basically the TLDR that you need to know is that your healing for yourself with your regenerative burst is going to be nerfed with Assault Burst by a little bit. You'll still get the heal over time, but you're not going to get quite as much self-survivability, which is really why people aren't really using the perk, because the 30% increased attack speed is really good, but you're losing some of your ability to keep yourself up when you're low. That being said, if you're not under a lot of pressure, I mean, 30% attack speed is 30% attack speed. And that means, yeah, exactly. It's both your damage and your healing just as a whole. You just do stuff faster. So I would say if you're not under a lot of pressure, Assault Burst is really good. The reason why a lot of BAPs in higher levels aren't using this, though, is a lot of times when you're playing BAP, you're getting pressured, you're getting dove, you're getting dueled. And so you keep your burst heal when you choose Rocket Boots, but you also get the additional value of what Rocket Boots does, which I'll demonstrate really fast, which is the ability to use space to dash horizontally. So when I'm in the air, you notice I can't use it when I'm on the floor. I can dash off to the laterally to the side. And it's on a pretty low cooldown, obviously because my dash boots are just infinite cooldown. So I can just go here and then pop up, and then I can dash off to the side. Very, very nice in terms of movement and rotation, something that Baptiste was definitely lacking. That being said, exactly. It's not just if there are no divers, though. I think that's a bit simplistic. I would say if the map doesn't give you a lot of rotational options as well. Because you can argue that, yes, the attack speed is nice, but being able to rotate from angle to angle and keeping your full defensive capabilities, regenerative burst, means that even if you're not being dove, you can force yourself in duels a lot more aggressively, probably get as much, if not more value than 30% attack speed. Like dash is, it's hard to quantify mobility when you compare it to like raw stat value, but it's not just about surviving. It's about the fact that you can survive and how much more you can do offensively
Basically,
because you can survive.
In higher ranks, giving up one of your extra health bars is a silly decision.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't say it's a full health bar. It's just some of the burst, but a lot of the burst. So yeah, I would say if you're under zero pressure or the map doesn't allow a lot of rotations, you could probably get away with automated healing. You could get away with assault burst. But if you are under a lot of pressure or have a lot of opportunity to take off angles and duels, then the consistency of field medicine and rocket boots are hard to beat. But this may be up to changing at any point in time. Brig. Now this one's spicy. So I'm just waiting for the Brax text-to-speech here. Brig is, they've used one of my ideas. I don't think it was directly copied from me, but something that I've been asking for a long time, which is movement speed post-bash. I want Brig to be able to move around and offensively force herself, and they did that. So the one that you're going to see a lot in terms of consistency, and I actually think you won't just see this in high-level play, I think this is also just consistently better across a lot of comps, is going to be that movement speed. So right now, the barrier restoration says 30% movement speed, so you move faster for a second and a half, and bashing an enemy restores 100 barrier health. Now, this is really good for two reasons. Number one is obviously the movement speed. That means that after you use shield bash, whether you hit an enemy or not, you move faster. So you go, oh, look at that. You just move faster. So you're rotating, you're angling, you're flanking, you're disengaging, you're pushing, you're pulling. It's just speed. It's movement. It matters, and it matters a lot. Especially if you've ever played Brigitte and like Pharas and snipers and maps. Like, it just allows you to do more aggressive things without dying. It even helps you versus certain dive things like Hazard or Brawl things or Ramatra that will have a little bit of a harder time closing the distance than you. I think this one is really, really good. Initially, I don't remember what the first perk... Oh, it was like a shield one with her first iteration, and a morale boost was always better, which is Inspire lasts 3 seconds longer when activated by Whip Shot. That's okay, but I might be wrong with this, but I believe your Inspire is overwritten by your next application of Inspire. So let me demonstrate what that means. I believe your Inspire will last... Okay, your last longer when you hit a Whip Shot, yes, but it means that if you hit a Whip Shot and then swing your flail, I believe it overwrites the longer duration of Inspire. I might be wrong with that, but even if that's not the case, that's something that we're going to need to test out. But even if I'm wrong with that, it's still going to be inferior most of the time to barrier restoration.
Barrier resto is huge for maneuvering. In addition to listed benefits, it helps with tech, since you can readjust if you mess things up slightly. Morale boost does not stack Inspire.
Okay, good to know.
But
but it does keep the longest duration when overwriting. Okay, so if you do overwrite it, then it won't overwrite the previous longer duration. That's good to know. Okay, so there is still use in that as a whole. But the key thing is not just the movement speed as well, it's what it also does, which is restoring 100 barrier health as well. So if I'm holding shield and I'm getting shot on that shield and I decide to bash in, I just restore more barrier health. Did you guys see that? Like, that's a really, really underrated decision because it means that I can hold my shield, bash in, and preserve the health of my shield without it breaking. So you have ways of extending duels and winning 1v1s, and shield HP is one of the most important resources for Brig when it comes to winning 1v1s. So it's a fairly useful perk, but the movement speed really just completely clashes. It means that 99% of the time I'd say barrier restoration. I guess morale boost if you're playing versus hard dive, maybe, but even I think I still prefer the barrier restoration. Yes, you do have to hit the shield bash to get the shield HP back. Yes, it says hitting an enemy restores under barrier shield. Yeah, and it's also stacks with her ultimate as well. Exactly. Because you can watch. You don't get movement speed anymore, but now I do. And if I hit, if I take damage here, there's the shield HP back, right? So it's dirty. It's dirty. It gives you that same mobility that you used to have with Rally back in the day. It's really good. Now, majors, this one's a little bit more tricky. So initially, I was a Whiplash, not a Whiplash hater, but I didn't think it was good enough. But I have been stood corrected. The more I play Brig, the more I find opportunities where it's useful. So let me demonstrate what that is. You can slam enemies into walls dealing 50 extra damage. So 70 damage plus 50 damage, that's 120. 1, 2, 3, right? The reason why this is so big is the number of times that you will hit somebody with a wall it's way more often than you initially think. And crucially, unlike the on a crit thing, it has a lot of breakpoints that it changes, where you're able to swing fewer times because you're able to hit them into a wall, right? And so it increases your time to kill by a noticeable amount in a lot of situations. So the damage is nice. It really helps with 1v1s, duels versus tracers, Genjis, anything. And Quick Fix is really good too, but I think this one, if there's any sort of architecture or smaller, more compressed maps, you're going to enjoy Whiplash a lot more. Now, Quick Fix, I think, is still good, which means that your repair pack, so your heal an additional 35 health.
In Brig Ult, it's just something like 15%. The bash speed makes you faster
Right.
than old rally for a short
Yes.
burst. Also stacks the regen if you hit multiple with basher.
Oh, really? Okay, so we're saying that maybe you even get more shield HP the more enemies that you hit with your AoE shield bash. That's crazy. So basically what Quick Fix does is it's basically you just get more burst heal. So you already have burst heal on your armor pack, but it's even more burst heal. The key thing is that it has to be a critical ally, which in the definition of perks is half health. So it's actually not too bad. It's actually not too bad. So I want to clarify that, like, I like the whip shot one a lot whenever the situation demands it, but 35 additional health on an armor pack is really, really good because, again, it's not even, they don't have to be critical, literally critical. They just have to be under health. Half. I mean, look at that. That's huge. That's huge. So you get is her burst 25 healing, I believe? I think it more than doubles your initial burst heal on any armor pack of people under half HP. Really good. Really good. So I think with her majors, it's really tricky. I think Whiplash, in any situation where the architecture allows you to do things like that, and or any situation where you're going aggressively. I think Quick Fix if you're dealing with a lot of heavy dive situations, and you want to really leverage the armor pack power. But I actually think both are pretty good, have arguments for being decent. Yeah, so 25 to you get 60 instant heal, which is really strong. I mean, that's the strongest burst heal that we have in the game, with the exception of I guess call it a burst heal, but like you're talking about a burst heal and a heal over time. It becomes one of the strongest heals in the game. I mean, Suzu burst heal, Bat and such, but it's good. That'd be 60 healing plus how long is a heal over time afterwards? I want to say 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds afterwards, something like that. So it's a lot of healing. Yeah. Okay, Ediari. Ediari perks are weird. She has a really kind of pared down kit, which means there's not a lot that they could really do with it.
Quick Fix
Oh, yeah.
is good
All right,
for
Rex.
things like Brig/Lucio or Brig/Zen comps. But
Sure.
Whiplash is huge combo opportunities if you know how to navigate and baiting.
100 over 2. Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you, Brax. Ediari. Rapid construction, healing pylon builds 300% faster, and its cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. The major reason why you'd use this is more of the cooldown reduction. As you can see, its construction is pretty darn fast anyway, but having an additional 1.5 second cooldown reduction is really, really nice because if it gets destroyed, I wish I could demonstrate that really fast. I will demonstrate that real fast. If it gets destroyed, surely that will work. Nope, it's not good enough. Oh, okay, it did. It gets splashed. It's a long cooldown. So having an additional 1.5 seconds is nice, I guess. So, right, it just allows you to kind of get it back again a little bit faster and we'll apply it a little bit faster. It's pretty minor. It's a minor perk, so it's going to be minor. Now, the Summer Solstice one is interesting. So this means when you activate your ultimate, you get an additional 3 seconds of duration of her ultimate. So I'll kind of showcase what that looks like. 4, 3, 2, 1, and so on. Nice, right? But what makes this interesting is that when you pop the ultimate, you still have flight afterwards. So it's not like Sigma Flux where it cancels the flight when you pop the Q. So what this means is that you can get your perk here, throw your shot, and you just have 7 seconds of free flight, which is, okay, it's tied to your ultimate, but that's almost double the amount of free flight. In addition to that, you fly a lot faster, which means you can reposition in 80-80 strafe a lot safer. And then you have 30% increased attack speed, which is really important during your ultimate, because if we look at like the fire rate, right? You see how fast I'm charging these shots? So not only do you do more damage, not only do you move around a lot longer, not only do you have free fight for a lot longer, but you're also more consistently going to be able to burst that damage threshold for your ultimate to actually function. So if we talk about the ho-hum consistent value, Rapid Construction is going to have a very small but consistent output on you. Summer Solstice is going to, I think, be important enough. Remember we talked about this with some of the other ultimates in the game. There are certain ultimate buffs like Sojourns and Genjis that just do a good job at making that ultimate significantly better. So even though it only occasionally comes up, when it does come up, it dramatically increases the consistency and power of that ultimate. And also what you do after the ultimate as well. So exactly, the faster fire rate, the movement speed. So I would say almost without exception, Summer Solstice is going to be better just based off of the consistency of it. Yes, it's not available every fight, but you're going to notice a consistent and dramatic increase in the quality of your ultimate pressure because of the ult value of flight, longer flight, faster flight, and better attack speed. I think Summer Solstice is the way to go. I think it's almost always the way to go. I see no situation in which Rapid Construction would be better, to be honest. Major perks. Solar power. Fully charged solar rifles hit grants 12% of your maximum solar energy, overfilling up to 50%. I'll showcase what that looks like really fast here. So what this means is that if you look at my heal energy here, it only shows up when I use it, but you can expire it all the way. In fact, if you use it all the way, it goes on cooldown. So I can't use it for a while, right? So I can't heal until it fully charges. But if I hit a fully charged shot, you see that extra little yellow bar. Bam. They don't have to be headshots, but they do have to be fully charged. This gives me 50% more healing resource. And now that that range has been buffed not too long ago, it's actually not too bad. Bet you guys didn't even know that it reached this far, right? It's pretty far, okay? So I think this one is actually pretty decent. It's nice. So if you're not under a lot of pressure yourself, solar power is really good because you can do damage and then heal your teammates for more, and do damage and heal your teammates for more. The way that Iliara is positioned is always the tricky part because she's very rarely positioned directly behind her tank all the time. It's usually on a slide off angle, either helping a DPS or playing for her own angle. Now, since the heal range buff, you usually will be able to reach somebody with your beam, so it's still a decent perk for consistency. However, if you are playing and you are getting pressured a lot, your outburst does only a tiny amount of damage unless you have Sunburn, where you deal an additional 70 damage over 3 seconds, which definitely has some changes in terms of how you're capable of defending yourself and even changes some breakpoints of what you're doing. I won't demonstrate it right now, it'll take too long, but basically you're going to need fewer shots to finish off the vast majority of targets. So the major is pretty straightforward. Are you under a lot of pressure by dive targets? You should be choosing Sunburn almost exclusively versus these dive characters. Not necessarily the tank, but Tracers, Genjis, Sombras, any Reapers, etc. Are you not under a lot of pressure? Are you just kind of poking and prodding? Solar power is basically exclusively better. Maybe you're wrong, but I'm pretty sure Rapid Reconstruction doesn't work on the longer cooldown. If that's the case, then that perk is completely garbage. I will take your word for it, but yeah, if that's the case, then that's completely garbage. Yeah, but Sunburn is really good to deal with those dive threats. Yeah, but Solar Power, if you're not under any sort of pressure, people getting in your face, the other one's good. Okay, all right. Definitely one of the more boring support perks. Not the most interesting. Oh my gosh, my eyes. So Juno is, Juno has had a lot of changes recently, and she's also got a lot of changes right as she was kind of falling out of the meta at the higher levels, at least the 100% pick rate. So there's a lot of exploration I still think needed to be done, but we can give ourselves a pretty decent good guess at what Juno is going to be needing. Familiar Vital means Pulsar torpedoes lock into allies 35% faster, so that means your healing torpedoes are going to lock on to the target much faster. The closer you are to the target, the faster they lock on, but that applies to whether they're close or whether they're far. It means just faster, more responsive healing. It's nice, it's consistent. Reboots, however, is always better when it's good. So it's not always necessary. So what that means is I can double jump here, I can glide, and I can kind of catch the ledge here and create some verticality, right? It's a really important aspect of Juno. However, there are going to be some situations when you don't have the capability to do that, or the walls are just way too high. So what this is useful for is you double jump, glide, and then you can double jump again for an extra couple of meters of height. And that allows you to access height a lot more consistently. And to be honest with you, there's even situations when you can just juke people entirely just based off of this perk alone. Like, this is just too darn slow, right? But if I can use my double jump, I can glide boost, and then I can jump again. There's going to be some situations where I'm just going to completely dodge the pressure entirely, and I'm just going to completely disengage. So maps where there's a lot of verticality, especially when you're under a lot of pressure, that perk is really, really, really good. However, your mileage may vary, as well as you just need to experiment more with when it's useful and when it's not. Okay, so I like it. It's good. It's really good when it's really good when there's that verticality and you're under a lot of pressure. Otherwise, the free consistent value of Familiar Vitals is just decent. Bias, thank you for the sub, mate. I appreciate it. So, Familiar Vitals, boring, meh, but it's consistently good. Reboots, when you're getting pressured, when there's a lot of verticality. Honestly, even if you're not getting pressured, if you're looking to rotate to a high ground that you otherwise wouldn't be able to reach, it's really good. Just make sure that you're utilizing that glide catch. So what I mean by that is the little catch here that allows you to catch little ledges there so you can climb a little bit higher. I don't know if you'd be able to hover for a long time, because at some point, once the glide boost expires, you don't get your double jump back, so you're just going to free fall, right? It doesn't extend your duration of glide boost in that front. Okay, Locked On. Reduce the cooldown of pulsar torpedoes by 1.5 seconds for each enemy. This doesn't stack with Familiar Vitals, but each enemy hit. So what that means is you're going to hit an enemy with a torpedo, and for every enemy hit, you guys know this from Stadium, right? You get a reduced cooldown. Again, you want to talk about consistency. This is pretty consistent. Torpedoes is a useful AoE tool. You can use it in your backline. You can use it on off angle. You can use it on tank, DPS supports, whatever. Just hitting 2 or 3 enemies is more than enough to make this perk very, 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 very useful. It's hard to really measure Locked On because very rarely is it a huge burst in value. At least not on one target. It's more just a genuine debuff, damage, distraction, frustration across a lot of targets. And the more that you can put that out, the more pressure you're going to put out there. It's very, very strong. Now, that is, again, we're kind of going about the ho-hum consistent value. Use more torpedo, good. Master Blaster is the one that has the appeal that situationally can be really good. Let me demonstrate what that means, okay? 1, 2, 3. If I land every bullet, which almost never happens, okay? Now with Master Blaster, 1, 2, just barely changes the breakpoints. Now realistically, you're not going to be hitting 50% faster kills with this. You're going to be missing a lot of shots with your body shots and hitting occasional headshots, but it will change your breakpoints. It will change your breakpoints on the vast majority of situations. Here's what I would say. If you are playing a tank that you can easily critical and have actual pressure on. This might be a Malga, this might be a Roadhog, this might be, a Winston's whose bubble that you're breaking consistently, whatever. Not Ramatra, not shields, and so on. If it's something you can consistently crit, or you're being under a lot of pressure yourself as an individual, I think crit is good. Your ability to defend yourself with more damage is always good. If you're not under pressure, and there is not a tank that you can consistently pressure, then torpedoes is good. What I mean by that, you're playing into Ram, you're playing into Ryan, there's these big hunks of metal slamming into each other, and you're able to consistently take angles and hit several enemies with your torpedoes without getting your head blown off. Sadly, Pulsar Torpedo Lockdown is just better. It's going to do more consistent pressure on a large scale. You'll do more damage from the reduced cooldown of your torpedoes than you will with the crit damage of your Med Blaster. Keep in mind that it's not a 2 times critical multiplier. However, if you're getting dough, if you're getting pressure, or there's just a really big juicy tank that you're just railing over and over again, then you will get more self-defense and offensive pressure value with Master Blaster. Yeah, it does not work on barriers. You can't crit a barrier. So yeah, it will help with tracers. It helps with Genjis, helps with Roadhogs, Reapers, Pharas, and so on. It's really good in those circumstances when there's these mobile DPS that are taking space and preventing you from getting your torpedoes. So what do? You say, well, then fine. I don't get my big juicy AoE torpedoes, but you don't get to keep your head. Obviously, the key thing is exactly as James says, the fall off, which is why you can't exclusively just abuse the crit on your gun like you could with potentially Anas. It's much more situational. You have to play within range. I'll kind of demonstrate that really fast, but even with the crit here, like that's a full clip, right? That took 2 full clips just to do like 60 something damage, right? But so yeah, certain situations when you're getting dove, good juicy tank. I think Master Blaster is great. Situations where you're not getting dove, you're getting good free angles, big 3-man, 4-man torpedoes. I mean, locked on. I mean, guys, like, you're just going to hit like torpedoes and have a torpedo again in like 2 or 3 seconds. So, yeah. Kiriko. Kiriko is probably the simplest one we're going to do today. So, Fortune Teller, Kunai hits launch 2 healing Afuda to an ally in front of you. I'll demonstrate that really fast. So that means when you do a damage shot, it heals. I'll try to demonstrate how much that's healing for. We could actually run the math in the wiki. But it's a little bit. I want to say 20 healing. Something like that. Why is he dropping to 1 HP? He does not want to be full here. But I want to say it's 1 HP. It's like 20 HP, something like that. Can somebody in chat check? We can actually just look up the wiki right now because we know it's 5 Afuda. So 26. It doesn't feel like it's 52 though. I think it's different if you like do it individually. It's weird because I'm looking at it says 13 per talisman but 26 per burst, which doesn't make any sense. So so perk launches 2, right? So then what is it? It should be 26 healing then, right? Right. So it's 26 healing per damage that you hit, body shot or headshot. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This is just really consistent. It's just really consistent. The way that Kiriko plays is you're gonna be taking these little soft or hard off angles and just basically looking to do as much pressure as you possibly can, and just being able to heal for free for 2 Afuda on every shot you hit, headshot or not. Now I don't think this applies to shields. Yeah, it does not apply to shields. You actually have to hit the shot, but it's just 26 healing every single time you hit a shot. And yes, the range is really good as well. I'll demonstrate that really fast here. Look at that. Like that, I'm a solid 15 meters away from the target. How far can I push this? Oh my gosh. Wait, is that the range? Is that the limit there? Just because I couldn't see it? Nope, it's still going. Yeah, so the perk doesn't aim well, as you can kind of see one of the Afuda hit the thing here. But if you have like within 20, 25, whatever meters onto something, you're just going to be getting free healing consistently. Now the other one is like interesting, where basically the Afuda, you can kind of see it right there. The projectile speed is increased by 50%, which is a lot, when seeking allies below half health. But the way Kiriko positions and heals is you may not always have full LOS on a target, and it's going to be a little bit hit or miss. It's like one of those things when things go badly, it's useful. I don't think it's bad. I just don't know how useful it is in terms of the consistency of the other one. If you are looking to heal somebody who's critical across the map, obviously Urgent Care is going to be really good, but just consistency of output of 26 healing every single time you hit a shot, and anybody that's nearby is just too valuable. I don't see most... the reason why you see most Kiriko players use Urgent Care is because most Kiriko players do no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. Most Kiriko players are healers first, not supports, and that's why they are at the rank that they are. This is almost exclusively used by all high-rank Kirikos, is Fortune Teller. And the problem is that there isn't another interpretation of how you play Kiriko. To play Kiriko optimally, you must be taking angles. It doesn't mean you always have to flank, but you do need to be taking angles and looking to do damage. If you're not playing Kiriko like that, you're not playing Kiriko correctly, and this guide isn't for you. Okay, major perk. Again, it's just pretty self-explanatory. Foxtrot. Protection Suzu grants 40% movement speed to allies for 2 seconds. It sounds cool. It is cool. It's just on Suzu's cooldown, which is 14 seconds. And sadly, Suzu, on its long cooldown and how effective it is as a heal and defensive tool, is really not really used offensively. It's not designed that way. It should be. I would like if it was, but it's not. So Foxtrot is a great example of a cooldown of a perk that would be great if Kiriko Suzu was in a more healthy, balanced, lower cooldown, lower effectiveness, more available state, but it's not. And so shuffling is just better. It's just not even close, right? I agree. So Swift Step can be used again within 4 seconds of initial cast. Let me demonstrate that. 1. I don't have the perk selected. One. It's on cooldown. One. Oh no, I'm in danger. Wait, no, I'm not. And I can get out again. It's just broken, guys. It's broken. You don't even have to go back to the same target. You can teleport to one direction and a completely different direction. It's just, there is one of the dangers of playing Kiriko. You are on an angle, you get forced out of that angle, and you have to teleport to your team. People don't like that, but it's value. It's value because you clear the Kiriko off of the angle. This perk really, it doesn't remove that value entirely, but there are a lot of situations where you'll force a Kiriko off of an angle and she just goes right back to it. And it only costs a 6-second cooldown. So yeah, this perk is just unbelievably strong. It's one of the strongest major perks in the entire game for any character. It takes everything that Kiriko does and she just does it significantly better. It reduces her punish window. And the crucial thing to note here as well is that the cooldown starts when you finish the second perk. So the only downside of this is that when you teleport here, if I wait. Oh wait, no it doesn't. It starts the second that you use the first teleport. Watch again. One, oh, I'm in trouble, teleport out. If you don't use it, that second teleport, you are not punished with a longer cooldown. You are only, quote unquote, punished with a longer cooldown if you use the second teleport. You understand what I'm saying? So this perk has literally no downsides because you can use the first teleport and then just decide, oh, I don't want to use the second perk, and you get the normal cooldown of your perk. Right? So you only get the quote unquote extended cooldown for using it twice. So it's great. It's ridiculously strong. We're not here to talk about game design, but obviously you guys can probably guess. By the way, did you notice that heal right there? That's great. So fortune teller shuffling basically 100% of the time. I see the value in the other ones, but they're just not good enough to compete. Light Fever. Light Fever is pretty straightforward, to be honest. They keep working at it, but it's just not good enough. This one's going to be another one of the simplest ones in the game here. Life Cycle is just broken. Permanent 10 healing per second. I don't know if that feeds ult charge. Let me check that out really fast. I don't think it does. So we got to wait for this here. But basically, permanent 10 healing per second is really strong, right? Just allows you to live dives or win duels or take space and do things aggressively. And Healing Seed is, you know, a total cornball ability. But I mean, it technically is, it's something, right? I've seen it actually get value, like not completely, never. I don't think it feeds ult charge. I believe it's the passive health. Yeah, so the wording of the perk is misleading because normally when it says regenerate 10 health per second, or heal 10 per second, it means ult charge for every other perk, but it doesn't say passive health. It should say passively regenerate, but it doesn't do so. So the wording is a little bit confusing, but it does not get you ult charge. If it did, that would be even more broken. But yeah, Life Cycle is the best. It's just the best. Healing Seed only heals allies, and it doesn't heal enemies like it used to way back in its release. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. But the 10 health per second is crazy. It's just really, really strong. Now, Cleansing Grasp is a little bit better. Life Grip cancels negative effects. Cleansing a negative effect reduces Life Grip cooldown by 4 seconds. So if you're playing versus a nade or, you know, an Ash Dynamite or something like that, I guess, like, you're not really going to be pulling dynamited targets most of the time anyway. It's too valuable of a resource. So, like, the spirit's there, but the execution is just not it with this perk at all. You know, it's just not enough to compete with Life Cycle. It's just not enough. Like, a 4-second reduction of a cooldown when you, like unless you're life gripping a target that's literally 1 HP and naded, then it's probably worth it. But other than that, it's just not worth it. So yeah, it's just not worth it. If your tank is walking in and dying over and over, then you're probably worth picking. It's probably worth picking Life Cycle and then going out and doing aggressive things with your 10 healing per second. Because pulling him out of danger is not going to make him not go into danger anywhere. It's just too good. It's just Life Cycle is just too good. Now, the same thing sadly also applies to his other perk as well, which is Super Bloom. Thorns detonate for 40 extra damage when enough stick within 2.5 seconds. That does not mean that you have to hit all of the shots in a row for it to stick. You see that little burst? Watch this. I need to fuller. Let me actually do this with a bigger HP target because I want to demonstrate something. Check this out. You see that? So I got just enough shots within that 2.5 second window. You need to do enough damage or enough shots within that 2.5 second window to be able to get it to perk. It doesn't matter if it's headshots or body shots. It doesn't matter. To my knowledge, it does not apply to shields, but we can test that real fast. Yeah, I don't think it applies to shields. It's just really good. It's good for damage on tanks. It's good for dueling. It's good for keeping yourself alive. It's 100% pick rate. Always pick this perk. If you don't have good enough aim, suck it up. Get good, or just practice, because even if you don't have great aim, it's just consistent value. Life weaving, sadly, is just not worth it. I like the concept of spending your defensive cooldown with your dash to be able to do more healing, but 40 healing isn't enough, and 3 seconds is a very short time. I think 3 seconds is probably short enough, but 40 more healing isn't strong enough to spend your defensive cooldown, because remember, even if you're not being dove, you can use your dash to take more aggressive positions that kind of use yourself as bait, in which case you would want Super Bloom anyway, right? So in no situation is life even going to be better than what you do with Super Bloom. So always choose Super Bloom, always choose Life Cycle. If you are going to choose Life Weaving, try to make sure it's not a situation where you're being dove a lot, so that you can kind of just burn your cooldown to do more healing. But yeah. Yeah, Thorns don't have drop-off. They do have a bit of spread, but only after you fired for a period of time. Thorns are actually really accurate on static targets that are far away. You can actually torture Widows outside their fall-off range, but yeah. Oh, I hate this skin. Why did I choose this skin? Okay. Lucio. So... Lucy's a little bit tricky. So I think that there's going to be a lot of disagreement with this one. I'm just going to give you my take and try to introduce some nuance in here. Would lifing be better if it gave overhealth? I mean, it's definitely an interesting idea, Ralvo. Yeah. So with the miners, Soundwave's knockback is increased by 15%. So this means that your boop distance, so everyone knows the boop, it just go 15% back further. Consistent. It's good. Beat drop, amp it up, is active during sound barrier. So what this means is when you press your ultimate, I'll show you this. So you amp it. Ooh, ooh, we're going in, right? Amps over. Beat, amp again. But notice that it doesn't put it on cooldown. So as soon as my beat expires, now I have the reduced beat cooldown of when I used it previously. So in theory, if you want to get really spicy with it, you can amp in, beat, and notice the amp lasts a long time. It's longer than an average amp. You see that? It's longer than an average amp. Okay, it lasts for the entire duration of the beat, and then I have another beat immediately afterwards. So I think this is another one of those perks that is probably strong enough to justify arguing, even though it's an ultimate only perk. It doesn't have to be just amp speed. It can be amp healing as well. But it is really, really good. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one I think is objectively better. I think it depends. I think if you're using your beats and moving around a lot, I think the beat drop is probably really good, and probably why you see a lot of pro players picking it when they're doing a lot of beat pushes and so on. But base blowout is really consistent too. Like, more boop distance is just really good. Even if you're not booping people off the map, even if you're just displacing people, it's really good. So I think you have either a 7-second amp from your beat every other fight, or a consistent longer boop distance. Your mileage may vary. Experiment with it. Choose which one makes sense. I think both are pretty good. Yeah, it works with the aura size buff perk too. Yes, and we'll get to that really quick, which is we'll jump ahead to noise violation. Crossfades range, which means your aura. You see my aura right here? All right, you see the little green border here? Let me see if we get a better thing. When you use amp, you increase it by 150%. Guys, if you know your math, that means big, okay? So that, let me try and get a good vantage point here to showcase it. It also applies in a sphere, right? So it's actually up and down as well. So when let me just go ahead and sec that. Okay, there you go. All the way over there. I'm amping people. Okay, if I do this with the ultimate as well. Yeah, look at that. I'm amping those training bots over there, right? It's huge. It's huge. Right, it's massive, right? And if you compare that, like I said, with beat drop, then you have multiple opportunities to kind of get amp value out of that one. This one is really good. That being said, I think Accelerando is really good too. Lucius attack speed is increased by 50% while Amp It Up is active. Now, if you've been paying attention, that also means during your beat drop, so I'm going to showcase what this looks like as well. There's a lot of synergy within these perks. It's kind of interesting. So if you get the beat drop amp here, all right, let's check this out. So amp it up is active during sound barrier, and now I get attack speed. Now check this out. So if I watch this, we'll just do it stationary just to demonstrate, all right? Really fast, really fast. Boop as well, really fast. Beat. And you get the attack speed, and you get it for 7 seconds. So you basically can affect massive swaths of area with your amp and your beat, or you can make yourself a killing machine. Your choice. Do you want to get a lot of... Are your teammates kind of in an area where you want to be able to control a large space? Are you Reddit Lucying because they're on snipers? Are you finding yourself... It's a lot... It's very situational. Very situational. Very situational. I would say when you're playing with teammates that are kind of focusing on fighting in a large area, but kind of within sight lines of each other, you'll probably find a lot of value out of noise violation and beat drop. If you find yourself kind of playing a little bit more on your own, holding off angles, maybe with one other teammate, you're probably going to find more value out of base blowout and accelerando. But both are really good. I think all of them are pretty good and more situational, which honestly, like, I wish I was saying situational more often. Situational means well-designed perks for the most part. Mercy. Now, I'm going to be very careful here because I'm sure the Mercy Mafia has kind of run the full numbers on this one, so I'm just going to give my initial intake or my initial input here. It's going to be pretty much exactly what you'd expect, which is more of the, this is really good most of the time, this is situational really strong. So Winged Reach, Guardian's Angel reach is increased by 30%. So if you can kind of look here, I can't reach this target with my Guardian Angel, but now I can. If I had Winged Reach, I would be able to reach the target as far back as this here, which you can probably guess where this is useful. Wide open maps where you're repositioning yourself a lot, Winged Reach is going to be really, really, really freaking good. Not just in terms of who you can help, but also keeping yourself alive as you move around the map. Definitely objectively the best perk in those situations. Now, however, if you're finding yourself not repositioning around a lot, but wanting to go for resurrects in situations where you're not sure that you can, Angelic Resurrection is really good. Crucially, you gain 100 over health after casting the Resurrect. So you don't have invulnerability during the cast, it's only afterwards. In other words, it makes a really risky decision if you get it off, a lot safer as you're able to get out more consistently. And 100 over health is a pretty big deal. So I would say Winged Reach is probably going to be the play most of the time. But if you want to go for something more aggressive, you think you can get away with it, you want to go for more aggressive reses, then Angelic Resurrection can situationally be useful. Now, the more interesting thing is going to be the Major, by far the Major. You can cancel the res and get the overhealth as well, right? And that's important because you can basically just tap the res. Let's just do it on a target here. I won't demonstrate it with the overhealth, but you can tap the res and just cancel and fly away immediately, and then just basically cancel and get the overhealth right away. Now, for the majors, things get a little bit more awkward. Secondary fire links to a nearby ally. So if your teammates are more grouped, this one's pretty good because it's just basically 30% damage boost for free or 25% damage boost for free on a nearby target. I will demonstrate this one really fast. I'm going to wait for this target to resurrect. You see it? Now, in terms of how nearby you can be, I haven't tested this extensively. I want to say it's around 10 meters, something like that. So you need to have targets that are reasonably close. This isn't going to be your Valk chain by any means. Valk chain is way more forgiving, right? So I can hit a lot of things that are not even close. I mean, this is a little bit too far because of the wall, but you can get stuff. The perk is not quite that forgiving, but it's something to consider. So, right. In 66, right, exactly. If you're not pocketing a DPS that's taking a really aggressive off angle, then chain is pretty good. The problem with that is that Mercy is really good at not pocketing clumps. She's way better at those solo isolated targets outside of Valkyrie. So chain boost gives her strengths outside of her normal strengths. Like she's normally weak at AoE clumps, right? So she's actually decent at it, but it's not enough to compensate and compared to other supports, if that makes sense. So like chain boost is nice, but in those situations, you're probably not going to be playing Mercy, or you probably aren't motivated enough to stand behind your tank. You're still going to want to go with your hit scan or your Pharah or whatever else. Flash Heal can be used on Caduceus Staff's active target to restore 50 health, tripled on allies below half health. So what this means is I will need to kind of demonstrate this.
Don't fail me. I'll be right behind you.
You just have another cooldown, basically. So Flash Heal can be used. It is a separate cooldown from res. It's no longer tied to your res. And it heals them for, as I'm healing, press R, burst the up. If they are below 50% health, it heals them for triple. Now you can probably guess where this is useful. It's not even on that long of a cooldown. I mean, it's a reasonably long cooldown, but it's not absurd. But if you got a big old juicy tank here, and you press reload, that's 150 healing on a 15-second cooldown, which is not long. I mean, it's a lot shorter than res, right? Half of res is cooldown. So you're going to have at least one relevant flash heal per fight, which is really good for keeping your tank alive, but also really, really good for keeping a squishy alive. Because 150 health is a lot in a tank. It's a lot more in a squishy. It's a lot more in a squishy. I don't think it used to be I want to say it was a flat 100. I don't know if it was a flat 150, but it was indeed a flat heal at some point, and it did consume your res cooldown. So this one is just free value for sure. And I would say in situations where you're not fighting with a clumped up teammates, aka probably 70-80% of the time, flash heal is really good. Honestly, even with clumped up teammates, because 150 healing on a 15-second cooldown is really, 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 really good, and it provides that sort of utility or indoor burst that Mercy doesn't really have. Moira. Oh, gosh. Okay, so Moira is one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this, because my opinions have changed. I basically said always choose Uprush because you can get to a lot of high grounds. I still think Uprush is really good. Map situational, though. But Vanish is crucial in the fact that it does something that I did not immediately appreciate, which is a longer fade means that, yes, you're out of the fight for 0.5 seconds longer. But if you're off-angling here onto the side as Moira, and then I go here, you can basically change angles that you're on entirely. So a lot of heroes in Overwatch, when they take the right lane or the left lane, you can deepen or shallow, but you don't really cross, you know? It just means you get in the open, you get poked out, right? But when I choose my Fade perk here, I just can cross in an extra several meters that allow me to honestly just traverse my angles. It makes you way, way, way harder to track. Which, yes, you're out of the fight for 0.5 seconds longer, but it just allows you to reposition a lot more. Now, if you are not repositioning with Moira very often and not really limit testing with your off angles, if the map is really compressed, then I would just consistently choose Uprush for any sort of verticality that you can. But in a map where there's any sort of breadth or distance, then this is really good for changing the angle that you're approaching on, or even just disengaging to a different position entirely. It really feels almost impossible to find Moira after Fade with that perk. Yes, exactly. So it's much harder to punish you. You're just significantly harder to chase after using Fade. Yeah, it's a big deal. It does mean that you're out of the fight for longer, so if you aren't leveraging it when going crazy with your angles and your flanking and your mobility, like all high-rank Moiras do, then you're not going to find value out of this perk. But if you are, you will. Now, the next one is kind of tricky. If you are not taking crazy angles, and you're mostly just kind of spamming damage orbs from sight lines or from main or whatever, you're unable to take angles or the angles aren't there, I think Contamination is okay. I think it's something that's really hard to quantify because you don't really see its effects. So it's like, now how do you quantify that? You don't even see it. There's not even an effect there. It's just damage and a little bit less healing. But it gives Moira some impact on frontline trades that damage orb and healing just isn't going to replace otherwise. It's okay. It's decent. Like, it's really annoying for an enemy tank to deal with, even though he may not even notice it overall. I believe it does stack with the DPS passive, yes, to my knowledge. So it's really, really annoying. And if it doesn't stack, it's certainly superior to the DPS passive because tanks have a pared down version of the DPS passive. But that would be something that I need somebody to fact check that one for me, because that's going to be very hard to fact check without a lot of help. So somebody fact check it. I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm not sure. That being said, outside of those situations, if you go back to that off-angling and flanking side angle kind of a style, Ethical Nourishment is really good because the first 50 healing is instant on each ally hit it encounters. Now, a lot of people are going to look at that the wrong way, especially the low to mid ranks, and be like, oh, I can heal my tank faster. 50 healing is kind of meaningless on a tank, right? What it is really good for is for a 225 HP support on the flank. Yourself. 50 burst healing is broken. You guys think about regenerative burst for Baptiste, how strong that cooldown is for keeping himself alive because of the burst heal and then the heal over time. That's now what Orb is. So you talk about being basically unkillable on an angle with the exception of like a hit scan 2 tapping you. With the perk of Ethical Nourishment plus Vanish, you're almost unpunishable on flanks most of the time. It stacks, but it only applies when they're being damaged. There's no linger. Yes, there is no linger with that, and that's why it's not unbelievably broken. Which is why you need to make sure that you're kind of sending it down clumps if you are choosing contamination, because you need that orb to slow and keep its on targets for a full 2, 3, 4 seconds, whatever. But yeah, I think Ethical Nourishment's probably the more consistent one in terms of winning 1v1s. Contamination, in theory, could be like, oh, well, I can win a 1v1 versus a pocketed target, kind of, sort of, right? But Moira's not really going to be winning pocketed duels anyway. She's just more about a war of attrition and being an obnoxious butthole for as long as she possibly can. And Ethical Nourishment just allows you to do that better. You're not really going to be punishing and killing people through pockets. It's either you're killing isolated targets, forcing resources, or keeping people's attention for a long time. Right, she's a cockroach, right? So she's not going to be, oh, I'm going to use this to kind of punch through it, hit scan boosted, or by Mercy. No, you're gonna pick Ethical Nourishment, and you're going to sit there with a heal orb and just strafe and spam and strafe and spam and strafe and spam and create opportunities for your team. Right. Zen. Zens are weird. Zenith Kick is cool if you're being dove a lot. Knockback distance is increased by 30%. It's okay. Mostly useful versus tanks, but it can be useful overall. I think the one that you see used a lot, and rightfully so, is Ascendance, which means activate and hold double jump to hover for up to 3 seconds. That is a long time. So you double jump, and we're moving around. Now, what this means is you have not only the opportunity... Not only the opportunity to rotate from high ground to high ground and to do silly and funny things. The other thing that you can do is you can be weirdly unpredictable with your peaks. There's a very specific engagement, but it's one that really resonated a lot in my mind. There was one moment on Oasis City Center, Oasis University, the more compressed map on Oasis, and this Zen's on high ground, and he keeps taking this perk, well, he had this perk, and he keeps doing this. He keeps charging his 5 orbs and swinging off wide to me on Pharah. And it was so hard for me to punish him because he didn't have a floor to get splash damage on. I had to hit him directly. And he kept doing this, right? And it was just really, really annoying to nail him down. And it also meant that on other maps, he was just able to rotate around a lot more unpredictably. I think Ascendance is something that's going to demand you to think and experiment a lot more about how you position with Zen, especially on maps with verticality. However, once you do that, you will be rewarded with some more verticality and some more unpredictability with your offensive positions. It's not an easy value perk by any means, but it's something once you experiment more, you'll find more circumstances where it gives you value. Yeah, it doesn't last for very long. It's not unbelievably broken. It's just something that you're going to experiment more with. And I think the more that people experiment with, the more they're going to be like, oh, that's actually kind of useful. Oh, that's kind of funny. Oh, I can actually reach that. Or, oh, they weren't expecting that. Like the Pharah example that I was talking about earlier. I didn't realize that how important it was for me to get splash damage when I'm fighting a Zen, and now I can't, right? But yes, you absolutely can't strafe as fast, so that's worth pointing out because you're just much slower. Now, Zen is not exactly a strafing monster anyway, so that's not as much of a drawback as you think, but it's worth pointing out. Now, from there, Focus Destruction. Secondary fire charge is 20% faster and can store 1 extra orb of destruction. This just means that if I'm charging up my alternate fire, I have 6 orbs instead. It's fine. When you're playing Zen, you really only want to be charging alternate fire when you're behind a wall and you're being shot at, or when you're rotating from cover to cover. Your primary fire just does way more damage than alternate fire anyway, so you really don't want to be doing this, right? This is a waste of time. You just need to be shooting. So if you find yourself doing a lot of rotations, a lot of stuff behind cover, Focus Destruction is pretty consistent value. Now, that being said, if you're just basically spamming on tank, and spamming, you're not under a lot of pressure, Duality is good too. Because basically what that means is you're boosting your Harmony Orb healing based off of how much your damage you're doing to a discorded target. So there's a kind of a lot of variables. They have to be harmonied, they have to be discorded. This, for example, will not increase my healing, right? It has to be onto something that I'm shooting. Now, this was buffed recently to a point toward the healing is actually pretty decent here. If your tank, normally you never Harmony Orb your tank, it's just too low of a percentage of his health pool. But there's been a lot of situations where I'll run this perk in a tank mirror on a tank that I can really just dump my Discord into and turn my brain off. Like, let's say I'm playing Orisa versus Roadhog. Orisa versus Roadhog, Roadhog can't kill Orisa anymore, right? First off, he already struggles in that matchup as it is. But now the Orisa's getting like almost an additional double Harmony Orb because you're doing 40% of your damage, which is easy on a Roadhog. Malga's another great example. Any tank where you're finding yourself just basically vomiting damage on him, Duality is going to feel pretty good. Now, there's not a lot of tanks where that's the case, though. Roadhog is one. Malg is another. I guess you could argue even a fortified Orisa, you're still going to get some decent damage on that target as well. Ramatra is okay for value as well. But if those circumstances do present themselves, it's a noticeable amount more of healing on your Harmony target. Now, the awkward thing that I find with this is that it's not so strong that you're always going to want to Harmony your tank. I think the trap of duality is that it motivates you to Harmony your tank more often, but that might motivate you to always Harmony Orb your tank. And I think even if you got a tank that you can farm for more healing, a lot of the time Harmony Orb still should probably be on a flanker or on a DPS on the side, or maybe a support that's being dove. It's still useful with that, but you don't necessarily need the vast quantity of healing that duality may or may not provide you. So I think duality is very situational in a lot of ways, but could be really good in those situations. The tricky thing is that both majors just aren't super, super strong. So really your mileage may vary. If you find yourself rotating from cover to cover, again, focus destruction will feel pretty consistent. But other than that, duality might be free value. Like, they're both kind of free value, which in the right circumstances might provide a little bit more value, but neither of them are really particularly super strong. And they're not particularly fun either, to be honest with either of them. I guess my main caution would be, don't let focus destruction encourage you to hide behind walls 24/7 when there's no threats charging alt fires. And don't let duality have you park your Harmony Orb in your tank without turning your brain on the entire time. I actually don't like Zenyatta's perks, not because they're kind of weak, but not because of that necessarily. It's because they actually can accidentally encourage you to do the wrong thing, if that makes sense. So actually, you need to be really careful with both of them. Okay. Goodness gracious. Questions? That was finally our perk guide here. If you guys are asking about tank and DPS perks, tank we did about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. DPS we did Tuesday. I was hoping to finish DPS and support on Tuesday, but it ended up taking like 2 hours. Lead into crappy playstyle, kind of like May perks, yeah. Yeah. Ram Hazard meta, yeah. 27 around if you hit around half your shots, yeah. And that's significant, right? It's almost double. Roast your highlight?
What?
Nice deflect.
Ew, wait, what? That wasn't a blade kill, that was a fucking deflect kill? What?
That's pretty good.
Ew, wait.
Oh, and you hit 2 targets with your slash. That's pretty cool. Nice, dude. Could you go through all those heroes one more time real quick? Yes.
Up here. We must join as one.
Shoot, I can't find my ending stream scene. Never mind. There goes my joke. Frick. Will this be a YouTube video? Yes. That's the plan anyway. Doesn't sound like a roast to me. I'm old and feeble. Support perks just to wrap up. Either overpowered or uninspired. That's kind of my take on the support perks. I like Brigitte's perks probably the most, and I think Juno perks have moments as well. Lucio, probably Brigitte Lucio, probably my favorite perks. But a lot of support perks, like I said, are just either really, really strong, like really, really exacerbate the strengths of the character, or just really poorly designed, just not particularly interesting. Super said you couldn't coach against a good Widow locked in the pro level. Is that true? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, you could definitely mitigate your risks, but there are some times when just Widow just breaks the game. For sure. Yeah, for sure. More so than probably any other character, yeah. Hello, Paisley. But yeah, I used to coach versus Prime Ons, man, or right after Prime Ons. Like, we'd scrim the Glads, and some days Ons just was going to play Gibraltar and just kill everybody. And, we could definitely keep it competitive, but mechanics are what amplifies the good decisions that you make. And Prime Ons was also a very smart player, too, with how he positioned, and so you just lost. Yeah. But yeah, I think the support perks are, I would say, slightly below average.
You know what this is?
Lord Zen, thank you for the raid, mate. I appreciate you. How you doing, mate? The tank perks guide. So yeah, let me just go ahead and put that firm in stone. So DPS was on Tuesday. If you want to see what I thought about DPS perks, check Tuesday. You can also, if you want to see the support perk reactions, just scroll back on the YouTube stream just a little bit further back. You'll find the hero. For tank, it's about freaking time on the YouTube live tab from 2 weeks ago. They got 5.1K on YouTube live tab. It's in there. It's towards the end. It's also timestamped in there. I don't think each hero is timestamped, but you'll find the section. It's at the end where I do the tank perks, and you can go back and find. Big old throw off. Nice. I love that. Yeah, Ons is one who's unpredictable. Ons is probably also the best mechanical player in the history of Overwatch, at least in comparison to the rest of his competition. Peak Ons was probably the greatest mechanical freak in comparison to his competition. So you smash what you talked about with the R6 either intro, fluster, intro, make sure when I'm playing one, when I'm playing in the clutch. I'm not sure, Caprice. That's a really good question. I have no idea. It'd be kind of a self-reflection. Maybe you feel more pressure with friends or less pressure with friends. Maybe the environment with which you play is different. Maybe it's a different characters. Even Lip, yeah. Even Lip. Lip is definitely the better player over a longer period of time, and he's consistently mechanically strong, right? Lip also reached a height with Sombra that I think Ons that is equal to Ons on Widow. But in terms of just raw mechanics in comparison to his competition, the gap between Ons and everybody else, I think, was probably higher than we've seen before with other characters. But yeah, okay. Let's do. You guys want to do some tier lists?
Join together.
I don't know what I want to do. What do you guys want to do? Frick. Okay, so let me tell you guys what I have ideas. I was thinking we could talk about which perks change heroes' playstyles the most. We could see if we could find the 10 ugliest skins in Overwatch. That might be fun. We could see if there's anything posted in my React content thing and see if there's anything good. I'll do a poll. I'll let you guys choose. Honesty tier list? What does that mean? What to do? Let's do ugly skins, perk, playstyle, shakeups, and lazy, crappy React content. How hot every character is? Oh boy, that's super uninspired. I'm not that uninspired. It's freaking hot, bro. Holy crap. All right, polls live for Twitch. About the Flats Twitter drama? I mean, I've been mostly avoiding Twitter for a long time, but I heard about it, yeah. It's just the worst. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of this. All I know is that I heard that Flats and SK were like doing something stupid with Marvel Rivals bans, and somebody clipped it, and then Flat says something about the community, and everyone says, oh, but look what you did in the Rivals bans, and then they flip out over him, and it's just like, oh, bro, no, but it's just so boring. Like, whatever, man. Yo, Rural Juror, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Rebel, Indeed, Fish Sauce, Cora, Music, too epic for you. Oh, what's up, Epic? Yeah, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Yeah, it's just a total nothing burger as usual. Like, every freaking Twitter drama is somebody does something mildly questionable or interesting or weird or unusual, Gaming for Hope or Flats or SK or anything, and it just completely blows over the top, or J3, and all the chronically online people go over the top because the streamer did something stupid. And especially somebody like Flats, who I swear streams so much, dude. Like, a lot of that guy's stuff, dude. That guy is live for a lot. He's gonna do something stupid or rude. It's only a matter of time. Bro, I do stuff that's stupid and rude. But yeah. Thank you so much for the gifted, mate. I appreciate it. Pronounce Urger. Juror. It's pronounced Urger? Oh. Does Lucio take more knockback for using speeds? I don't think so, no. We are second-hand citizens over here? Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Anchor. I know, but like... I don't know. Like, I don't know. Okay. It's like... I look at... See, here's the difference, okay? I'm not saying that I'm perfect, okay? But when I saw that tweet, I didn't immediately go, yeah, Flats, you were crying about the... I don't know, was Flats not kind of carrying content at that point in time? Like, was he not, like, the only big content creator doing Overwatch content during that dead zone? Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, isn't there, like, I'm not saying that you guys have to be, like, fawning and grateful for him, but, like, he was the only guy, or one of the few guys, him and Emong, doing content at that time. You know what I'm saying? So, when I saw that tweet, I was like... I don't think that's true at all, but I understand where he's coming from, because he came from, that was when he was early on the ladder and still learning and growing as a content creator. And so there's probably like a lot of nostalgia for that period of time, right? You know? So like, bro, like everyone's immediately like jumps on it like he's visibly assaulting. Yeah, so, okay. What kind of a tier list do we want to do here? Do you guys want to do we want to do how powerful the perks are? I think that might be a little bit more saucy, more interesting. Not how powerful the character is, but how fundamentally strong the perks are in terms of amplifying the character's strengths or covering their weaknesses. I'm not doing a streamer tier list, bro. I don't watch streamers, first off, and half of them I know in person. That's just low tier stuff. Okay, let's do that then. Let me perk. How strong are perks tier list? How strong are the perks? Not the hero, because that would be just a ridiculous amount of. Yeah, base kit versus full perked, right? How awesome Venture is. Yeah. Let me pull up the Overwatch hero, like the wiki, Overwatch wiki, so that we can. So if just in case I'm stupid and I forget like what perks some of the perks are. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. I think S, A, B, C, D is probably enough. If we need to, we can add another letter. Yeah, we're factoring in all the perks compared to each other. Bastion. Probably A, no? His minor perks are like not bad. They're like pretty useful. And his major perks are like really, really strong in terms of like, has to be A. Like not like top of S or anything, but like both of his majors are super significant in terms of what they allow him to do, otherwise they can't do, and his minors are good too. I also like his perks, but that's kind of irrelevant here. The bomb shooting perk is pretty nice, yeah. Cassidy. Probably, yeah. Situationally good. Situationally good. Major perk with the hinder's decent, but yeah, bottom of C probably. So, Randall, do you think of what to say then start speaking? I speak very instinctually. I will sometimes think about what I have to say, but no, I speak instinctually. But I've also been like public speaking outside of streaming for like the majority of my life in terms of the work I've had. So, what is our baseline? We're not really establishing one. We're going by instinct based off the fact that we just did a guide for all these characters. So it's more fresh in my memory. And if we have to shift things around based off of that baseline afterwards, we'll do so. Because it's fair. Like, it would probably be optimal if this was like fully serious to establish a baseline first, but we're just going to kind of jump in and adjust as we go. I'll say Diva's B, bottom of B, but I'd say B. The health with shields is pretty good, and then Baby Diva being able to not just die is, I think, pretty underrated. That's like that's relevant even in highest ranks. So I'd say probably low B. I've prepared the sentence before I get to the public speaking. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. B. Diva's big missiles are good versus characters with a lot of armor, to my knowledge. And I think they do slightly more DPS if you hit every one, but I'm honestly not too sure. The Diva booster extension miner is pretty good. Yeah. It's like, it's you know, still niche. Or let me VIP Cap. I didn't see it. What's up, Cap? It's like there just aren't like really any bad Diva perks, to be honest. They're just like situational. So Genji's lifesteal is a big deal, though. I think you guys aren't sleeping on Genji's lifesteal, and even the deflect heal is fairly useful in consistency. So, yeah. I think Hanzo's perks are D. I think they're probably the weakest out of all the perks that we've seen so far. Sonic can be like situationally kind of funny, and the other ones are either weird or very inconsistent. Yeah, I'm keeping Hanzo in D. Maybe even lower, depending on how the rest of the tier list goes out. Yeah. Absolutely, Richard. Absolutely, Richard, for sure. Situational be good, for sure. I think Junkrats are B as well, to be honest with you. I could see even argument for A in the higher tiers, but for right now, I'd say definitely B. I think the Rip Tire perk is like really good for consistency. And this is like, we're not just talking highest ranks, we're not just talking lowest ranks. We're kind of going an amalgamation of the both. And as we talked with Lukigu 2 days ago, he really thinks that the 4 shots and the faster fire rate or the faster projectile speed is a huge impact on how we can play in different situations. So I think maybe not top of B, but like in between for sure. I think Junkrat's perks are quietly impactful. They're just not loud. His Rip Tire is way more consistent, and you're going to be hit a lot more by his mines or his grenades and not really... And see, that's the problem with the Junkrat major perk is you won't notice the major perk. You'll just die. You'll go, man, wow, this guy is hitting that. You won't know it's the perk doing the work. You get what I'm saying? The perk doing the work. I think the Junkrat perks are significant in terms of how they impact this playstyle. At least the major one is. I challenge you to choose the major perk with a faster projectile speed and go into the practice range and see the difference before and after the perk. You could say maybe more than that for sure. I get that, but you should go try it out. Lucio? Lucio. I'm almost tempted to drop him an A, but like... Ooh, I don't know. Or B? I would say low A. Let's just toss him an A for now. The amp perk is really good no matter which one you choose. The boot perk is really good. Yeah. Okay, May. So May is basically alt fire slow on demand. Probably top of B or A. Honestly, I'm gonna say A. I'm not gonna lie with you guys. Having a, what is it? Where how much of a slow is it? 25%? Is it 25%? 20%. Having a 20% slow on demand that you can basically is just it's just always good. Like always good. Always good. And yeah, her major perks are like not amazing, but like having freeze is not always good, but situationally good. And this is always going to be useful too. So like it's actually the minor perk that puts her into A because it's just always good. You're just always good. You're always going to be using an icicle, at least in mid to long ranges. And it's always going to apply the slow. And it's good versus tanks, and it's good versus supports, and it's good versus DPS. It's good versus everything. Heck, chat, we established that her primary fire 2 days ago from the deep freeze accelerates the freeze for the ultimate. Like they instantly freeze in the ultimate. Heck, we established that the cryo storm from her ice block accelerates the freeze in her ultimate, which is very niche, of course, but it's good. I don't like them, but it's good. Hey, Kyle. Yeah, this is not a fun tier list for sure. It's so strong. Mercy, bleh, see, probably. I mean, it's useful for sure. More GA range, flash heal is pretty good. I'd say top of C probably, slightly above Cassidy. It's not useless. It's useful. It's just not the most. Okay, so Pharah, maybe S tier, top of A. I think both of her minors are good. I think her most recent minor is underrated even. And both of her majors are good too. I think her the suck perk is probably the more consistently like flashy one. You hear for the perk art takes? I don't think Ana is necessarily S tier anymore. Necessarily. Possibly, probably, but not necessarily. We'll put Pharah in S for now. But I'm open to changing here. The Reaper. Faster TP is like consistently really good, plus the reload. Dire trigger, probably B, right, guys? Unsubscribing. Like, is that a threat, or are you? Is this like an early birthday present? Like, my birthday's not for like a month and a half, so. Thank you. I'd say maybe even above Genji, maybe even in terms of, somewhere, definitely in B, It's decent. Reinhardt. Top of C, I think top of C. I think underrated because I think the changes that they've done to the fire strike projectile speed and the stun thing, giving you more resets on your fire strikes. I think his majors are really bad, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the shield bash is not all that useful. It's okay. But I think both the minors are a little bit underrated. I think even the Crusader's Resolve is really underrated. Like, it situationally is unbelievably useful. It just allows you to basically just regenerate your HP within like 1 second of shielding. Not useful if you're sitting on the front line, right? You got me, I got. I mean, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I don't think Ryan's perks are strong, but I think they're underrated. They're decent. They're useful. Maybe up there with like under Mercy or something like that. Yeah, his majors are just really uninspired, to be honest with you. Like, they're not uninspired. That's kind of unfair. I think Shield Slam is like coolish, but it doesn't change a whole lot. Like, it allows you to kind of pressure people without like dropping your shield, which is really nice. Not so much versus tanks, but it can be nice for knocking people all the way, yeah, but like kind of dealing with Anas and stuff like that, but yeah. Hog. I mean, you're going to choose the vape perk for sure. And you're going to choose the speed perk for sure. I mean, it's A, probably? Has to be A, right? Like, it's one of the most powerful minor perks in the entire game. You get 50% of your vape when you don't... And if I remember, yeah, you get 50% of your vape just from a trap triggering. And then your vape can also just give you speed now. So yeah, I think there's not a lot of, the other two aren't that good, but the two that he does have are just really freaking good. So that's it. Yeah. Even with on a not banned, you have speed on your vape. Just run away. It's like it overfills your meter. Exactly. 6 doesn't choose the speed perk in 66. Yeah. I can 100% see that, Richard. 100%. I guess I should clarify this is for 5v5 because I would have to reevaluate the strength of some perks within 66. Like even something silly like Maze Wall duration lasting longer could in theory be more useful in 66 as well. V is nice. It's not like it's a game changer. It's just consistently fairly useful. Having more range just gives you more choices. You don't always use it, but it's consistently there. But it's a good question. I don't think it's broken by any means, no. I think soldier perks are high B, guys. Like I think maybe even A. I think I'm gonna put it in A. I'm gonna put it in A. Now I know don't hear me out. We're not ranking how strong soldier is, but how strong his perks are. I think his heal miner is way underrated, but sprint perk is one of the most powerful perks in relation to the base character's kit in the entire game. Like being able to sprint 20% faster and reload while you're sprinting is unreal. And then you have, is it 50% more healing on under 50% health with a field emergency? 100%. So it's double healing when you're under half health. Really good. So soldier's still kind of cheeks, but it's one of the strong. It's like up there with the May perk with just the one perk that just completely dominates. It's really good. Like just you're so fast, and you don't have to stop the reload. The other one is very situational, but I guess can be useful in certain like sniper situations. Yeah, so soldier's perks are actually really good. I think they're very underrated. I'd love to do like a community poll and see what people think. I feel like Ryan's perks would probably be underrated. I feel like Soldier's perks would be underrated. I'm not really sure what else I would think, to be honest. It's better Olivine, but it's still not great. It's better. It's for sure better. It's situations when you're not going to be angling at all. It's okay. Symmetra perks. I think they're good. I think really good. Definitely top of B for me. Now, I'm doing this not pro only. If it was pro, it would definitely push her into A because the ability to kind of ramp your range accordingly. The increased teleport range for your team is really powerful. But just for ranked players, high and low, Sim is really good. Really good. All of her perks are good. I think the turrets are not great. And the beam range extension is a little more situational. When you can charge up your beam, it's okay. But they're still okay. And the other two are really strong. Longer teleport range is really useful even just in rank, just as a solo player. And the 20 healing per second basically on yourself is also really consistently good. I would say, oh man, maybe you're right. Actually, I think you're right. Actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, dude, it's really good. I'm going to put her in A. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. You're just so freaking hard to win in a 1v1 without an anti with 275 HP and a self-heal. Torb. Top of C. Top of C. Basically carried by the wall perk with his turrets, which is like really dramatically increases the value you can get with turret. And his other perk is like, okay, it's fine, I guess. But he's basically carried by the turret wall perk. His miners aren't good. Yeah, his miners are not good. Healing armored targets with your hammer, and then reloading with overload is like fine, but it's like not great. So it's not just that it's not well designed, it's just not super, super strong. 25 extra P on turret. Yeah, but it's still, I don't think, good enough to replace the overload one. I think his wall perk with turret like is no joke a really strong perk for flexibility in a lot of situations. It's just going to make your turrets a lot better, and he's basically carried off that perk. And situationally, level 3 turret, yeah, but not as effective. I just still think Tracer's S tier, man. I think probably put her even over Pharah. Probably the strongest perks in the game, to my knowledge. I'll have to think more as we're getting through it, but yeah. She's just too good. It's just so incredibly consistent. Like I think you should get points for consistency because it means the frequency with which you get a good output. And Tracer just always gets value out of her perks. Always, probably the best perks in the game, even post nerf. Widow. Okay. It's gonna be spicy here, but oh man, you guys aren't ready for this. Let me elaborate. Basically exclusively her majors. Her minors are really pretty meh or situational. The Infrasight one is okay, like it's something, like you can charge your shots a lot faster, which is pretty good, right? But the majors are really good. We talked about this on stream the other day. Let me showcase what they actually do. You just don't see them used as much because they're not as visible. Both of the majors are freaking amazing. So hitting a shot, fully charged, reduces your grappling hook for 4 seconds. This can be a body shot. If you body shot a tank, you reduce your grappling hook by 4 seconds. If you don't fully scope, then you get 2 or 3 seconds. So you hit a couple of body shots, you have your grapple shot right back again. Yeah, so you basically just have grapple significantly higher uptime, like all the time. You grapple away, you hit one shot, you get it again, basically. Now hang on, Jevy. This is funny, but this is not that funny because you know what it is? It's freaking good. It's funny in a sick joke. This Venomine does 150 damage, and you have 2 of them. Now, you do have to deal with the same cooldown, but when you're setting up Venomines before fight anyway, it doesn't matter as much. Guys, you have 2 150 Venomines. So any flanks that you're looking to cover, Tracer gets hit, you have to recall. Genji gets hit, you lose the 1v1. So both of these are really good perks, like really, really, really good perks. Now, her minor perks aren't good enough, and I wouldn't say her major perks are the best in the game by any means, but they're really solid major perks and kind of whatever minor perks. She belongs in B. Yeah, this is no joke. Both of her majors are no joke. Winston. Now, again, we're not looking at this exclusively from pro level because I think pro level definitely pushes him into A with the primal perk and even stuff like the chain lightning, but I'd say probably a solid B. I put him slightly over Diva, I think. Both of his majors are situationally very solid, and his minors are situational, but for the most part, you're just going to choose the primal perk. I'd probably put him in a solid B. This would be higher up if this was included, had more of a bias towards pro level play, but I think it's like consistently good. Chain lightning is good at all ranks. Healing bubble is good at all ranks. Primal is good. You don't even have to purposely try to get the primal value. You're just going to get part of it for free. So yeah. I really thought faster scope charge rate would be good during it. It is good. It's just not good enough to dominate some of the other perks that we have here, I don't think. Torb was meta not too long ago. What happened? I mean, he got nerfed, and the meta around him changed. Like, his matchup versus Freya is just awful. Whenever a character comes on in and out of meta, you can't just look at that character's pick rate or win rate, or like the nerfs or buffs, rather. You have to look at what the meta shifted around them. And what happened around Torb is that Dive got turbo giga buffed with perks, with like Tracer perks, Winston perks, Ana perks, to the point where Torb's perks just weren't able to shape up. And then freaking Freya just comes strolling in, right? Yeah, chain lightning is just really consistent pressure output on grouped targets and even non-grouped targets. Its range is pretty good. So, Zarya, I would say low B. The one perk, obviously, the alt fire verticality is a big deal for sure. And her other perks are situationally pretty good, but I don't think even in lower ranks you're gonna always be able to leverage your lance, which allows you to cleave. The HP off of Grav is good as well. Maybe I'm underrating it. The reason why I think people are going to rate her higher is because Zarya is just a really cancer tank to play into at lower ranks with or without perks. It just amplifies the things that people don't already like. But if you look at just the perks in a vacuum and separate them from Zarya, yes, they'll... Like, if Zarya was a weaker character, I don't think people would have such a high opinion of her perks. Do you get what I'm saying? Should I start another argument how you pronounce Idiari? Idyari. 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 Yeah, I mean, it depends on the map for sure. But yeah, between high level and low level, I think Zarya has a solid set of perks for sure that increases her flexibility. But yeah. The perks are way better in 66. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Probably the cleave's a lot better as well. The graph percentage HP is probably a lot better as well. There's less need for verticality because you have another tank to help you control that space. Yeah, for sure. But for 5v5 and for the average of most ranks, I'm going to stick her. Whoops. Why did I do that? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. What is going on? What have I done? Wait, what the frick? Chat, I'm like way zoomed in. What did I do? Oh, I used open magnifier. What the frick is that? Okay, that was trippy. It's Il Yari. It's how the Quechuan pronunciation is. There's Spanish, it's what's the Spanish pronunciation? The Spanish pronunciation is different from the Quechuan one. I can't remember. Sakura? Iari? Yeah, that's this. Yeah, so the Spanish is Iari. In the cinematic, she says Idiari because that's the Quechuan pronunciation. Go listen to the cinematic. Spanish is Iari. Quechuan is Idiari. Il Yari. And that's how she pronounces it. Okay. Yeah, Spanish is Idiari. Zen, I don't know. B, he's fine. I think I would say top of C. I'm gonna get some spice for this because some people are like, oh, the things you can do with it are insane. But that's just like, yes, but in comparison to everything else, and for most players are not going to be able to do it. She's Peruvian, yes. The Quechuan are from Peru, yes. To my knowledge, I'm close friends with a Peruvian friend of mine, and she's the one who taught me how to pronounce it correctly. So I'd say Zen is like situationally fine, but I think more people overrate it because of how unusual it is. But the more unusual a perk is, the more people will overrate it. I think a good example of that would be like the Torp turret one, right? Oh gosh, the stuff you could do is insane. Yeah, it's good. It's just because it's insane doesn't mean it's always good. But yeah. I don't think Ana is S tier anymore, guys. The bouncy nade got nerfed, and then Nano also was nerfed. I just don't think she's as good as Tracer or Pharah. I mean, you could argue top of A, bottom of S, maybe. We might reevaluate, but I just don't think she's A anymore. I think the crucial thing, and this is the really, really tricky thing, is her nade cooldown also got nerfed by 2 seconds. And which means that you're less able to leverage the perk's strengths than you were before. You're close friends with the Peruvian friends of yours? Yes. Words are fun. It's good. It's still great. It's still one of the best perk sets in the game. And without perks, Ana would be a lot weaker. But I think that you're less able to leverage it since the 3 nerfs to her. Groggy is really good, but it's still situational. It's only good versus certain tanks. It's really good versus those tanks, which is why she's the top of A. I just don't think she's S necessarily. Keep in mind, we're not arguing for Ana to be in C or B or even low A. It's top of A. I just don't know if she's Tracer level. Sombra perk. Probably here. Probably here. Her majors are meh, but her minors are decent. I've seen both leveraged okay, but especially Control Alt Escape, which is my favorite. You see it leveraged all the freaking time. Like, it completely revolutionizes what the character can and can't do. So, yeah, I think it's really good. I think her major perks are super mid, but I think she's basically carried by her minor perks. The healing perk for summer would be bad, but it's fun. Yeah. Oh, wait, a full 5-second sleep in tanks and 66. Ouch. No, Control Escape does not give ult charge because it kicks in the passive heal specifically. But it means that you just have like ridiculous uptime. And then in addition to that, you're also a lot harder to punish. The thing's Torb should be higher. Well, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Orisa? Probably top of B. A Fortified Burst over health is just consistently always going to be useful, and Charged Javelin is just consistently always going to be useful. Shield is situationally okay. I don't even remember her other perk, which is not a good sign. What is her other perk? Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess situationally, if you're playing versus like a Malga, it's okay, I guess. But, yeah, they're just good. They're just good. They're just good. Fortify over health, charge up your Javelin, get yourself some extra knockback, some extra damage, I believe, some extra movement speed, projectile speed, so you just hit them more often. Yeah, it's good. What perks would you add for Zen? Don't know. Would have to think about it. Doom. I mean, it's A. It has to be A, right? Has to be A. Maybe even... Yeah, it has to be. Has to be. I mean, the one Matrix perk is just so unbelievably strong. It's one of the strongest perks in the entire game, especially in combination with what the character does, like how it enables the character. The minors... Okay, here's another thing. I think 1-2 is consistently underrated. Every freaking Doomfist player I coach, from silver to freaking grandmaster, every game that I coach them on, replay or live coaching, at least 5 or 6 times per game, I would have gone, man, if you'd had 1-2 there, man, if you'd had 1-2 there, man, if you'd had 1-2 there, man, if you'd had 1-2 there. It fully reloads your hand cannon ammo with using punch. You don't reload anymore. Or sit there. You don't reload anyway, but you know what I'm saying? I think I see people using survival of the fittest. I just don't, I get it, but it's basically only consistently useful if you're like getting massive AoEs and not being looked at. Maybe it's like a 66 thing, but like overhealth was way more important for Doomfist in his DPS state, because he would close the distance quickly, hit a bunch of abilities, AoE, really fast before you could respond, which then meant that he could chalk up his overhealth really fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could get your overhealth really high really fast. Right now, Doomfist is a lot more like methodical, right? He still has burst, but you're oftentimes just chipping his overhealth as soon as it comes up. So having 50 more overhealth max doesn't really matter. And it being 25 on elimination, again, isn't really important. 1-2 is just consistent. I think 1-2 is just way underrated. I don't think it's a very strong minor perk, but it's definitely not trash. It's just not flashy or fancy. And the type of player that's going to want to play Doomfist is not going to appreciate the amount of times that it's consistently useful. The vast majority of Doomfist's damage, at least consistently, is going to be through your primary fire. So I think 1-2 is underrated, first off, and that's before we even get to Power Matrix, which is amazing. Absorbs projectiles for the first second of its duration. You eat CC. You eat projectiles. You don't take damage during that at all. It also amplifies your ability to charge punch faster. It's just freaking amazing. It's freaking amazing. It's one of the best perks in the game. Now, that being said, I think Seismic Empowerment is horrendously stinking garbage. It's situationally, you can get it off. Like, very rarely you could get it off, but you can. But in terms of opportunity cost, there is no world that this will build you more punches than this. Zero. It does not exist, ever, in the history of the universe. So this is like, if this was like a minor perk or something, it would be like, is it better than 1-2? Probably not, but we could probably think about it, you know what I'm saying? But it's competing with one of the best perks in the game, and no world will you ever choose Seismic Empowerment. Because the problem is that you rarely play for AoE pressure with Slam anyway in 5v5, and you certainly don't do it anymore because for whatever reason, Slam still does 50 damage! 50! 5-0! But yeah, sure, keep buffing the punch. Sure. Okay, I'm getting off topic here. But yeah, it's terrible. So, but yeah, Doomfist is carried off of a halfway decent minor perk, which I think is underrated, and one of the best perks in the game. Moira. I think Moira perks are a solid B. I put her right behind maybe like Winston or Orisa, somewhere on there. Both perks are good. All 4 of her perks are situationally useful. The ones that you're going to use most often the time are going to significantly increase the quality of what you do consistently. They're never bad. They're always useful. It's good. They're just always good. So, yeah. So, Paulify. Brigitte probably falls into the same category as Moira, to be honest. Always good, always useful. Just slap them on. Get to work. I feel like we need to add another letter here. It's getting a little crowded here. Let's do this here. Let's try to kind of declutter this a little bit. We'll leave it there for now. What did I just do? Where did I go? Oh, Brig. I don't know. They look like Moira tier for me. Like, consistently good. Not going to game-breaking change things. It amplifies her ultimate. It amplifies her neutral game. But it's not like she's going to win every 1v1 and really, like... I'll put her up top. I'd say top would be, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I might even move Maid down a little bit. Ball. What are balls? I know the minors, but the slam one and then the adaptive shields one, right? Probably pretty good, right? Maybe bottom of A, you guys think? Feels like all of his perks are good. Like, all of them. Either spin to win steamroller, permanent uptime with pack rat, hang time, transfer efficiency is freaking underrated. Yeah. Maybe above Soldier, because Soldier's perks in a vacuum are probably a little bit stronger, but Wrecking Ball has like all good perks. Like all of them are good. So maybe I'll just put him right above Soldier. Yeah, okay, I'm going to put him above Sim. Ashe? has to be down here, right? Only thing that doesn't put her like higher is the fact that I guess with the major you can occasionally change breakpoints. Because you can change breakpoints, but the coach gun just isn't. It's nice, but it just doesn't really change that much. The one that's useful is this one right here. The 25 extra damage does change occasional breakpoints on a target that isn't being healed. So maybe that, but see, that's just something I don't see. I'll put her in C tier for that alone. I'll put her here. It's just not something that every single Ashe player is going to be able to leverage consistently. BAP. Probably top of C tier. It doesn't push them further? Sorry. Does it say that? Oh yeah, you're right. They're lying. Well, look at that. I will take your word for it. But yeah. BAP's fine. BAP's solid. They don't mean bad perks. Like, to be very clear, this is not a quality of tier list of the perk design. In fact, you'll see a lot of stinkers in BA and S, you know? And there's some good ones down here, actually. But it's just the strength, the raw power of the perks. Sigma. I think Sigma's good, man. I think Sigma's really good. I think Sigma's probably up there with Winston. I think the flashiness of his flight and his boop is definitely like something. But I actually don't even think that's necessarily his most powerful perk. I think his most powerful perk, as you guys can probably see, is I think it's Kinetic Cycle. I think it's Kinetic Cycle. You just have like a massive reduction on your accretion, even if you don't even eat that much damage. Yeah. Yeah, his Mother Miner is pretty crappy, but both of his majors are situationally pretty useful. They cover his weaknesses well, and his Kinetic Grasp one is just freaking broken. So... yeah. Echo. Just doesn't work out. Like, the thing with Echo is that you just don't... You will increase the value of your ultimate by a little bit, consistently, usually. Like, consistently. Like, Echo's ult will consistently be a little bit better. Not by copying her teammates, but by copying an enemy and getting an ult. But it doesn't, like, amplify it by the value by a lot. And then the Stickies perk gives you an upside with a downside of a longer animation speed. And then the flight reset sounds great, but the way that how often Echo gets beam connects and then also disengages at 225 HP, you don't find yourself using it very often. And you do use it. It is useful. It's just not as useful as like anything else up here. I'm honestly tempted to send her even lower. Like, I find it on par with like Cassidy's Hender perk, basically, in terms of how frequently in a game you're going to find value out of it. They're just not very strong. They just don't work. I find myself using Ryan's perks way more often than Echo's. So they just don't really work. Sojourn probably top of B, maybe top of, okay. Probably just under May, maybe. It's a significant ult buff, which now you one-shot again. And the majors are introducing downsides with pretty significant upsides. So I would say probably a. Again, if we're okay, remember, this isn't just pro players. Obviously, if it's pro players, she's S tier. But like the average player included here, I think top of A or bottom of A. You have one of the most powerful minor ult perks in the game, I think, along with 2 solid major perks, depending that are situational. The disruptor major perk does less damage than the normal disruptor shot. It's really good. Yeah. Queen. Oh, frick, dude. Queen is just... They're not trash. I mean, you could extend your ultimate, which is kind of cool. You can have lifesteal, more than double lifesteal and Carnage. But I still think top of D, or I don't even know, man. I don't like this placement. I feel like Rhine is too low in this placement. I need to, like... This feels wrong. I don't know. Yeah, for 5v5... The Carnage lifesteal is okay. It's just okay. I mean, yeah. Consistent minor perk value, as we've established earlier, and one of the most powerful major perks in the entire game. Yeah. Now, her other major and her other minor aren't, like, terrible. They're still okay, which counts as something, but I just don't think you'd ever pick them. Genji's perks are terrible. Your mileage may vary. Kiriko, man. Ramatra. Vengeful Vortex is crazy. And your damage perk is crazy, too. I think Ramatra's probably got the best tank perks up here, with the exception of, like, Wrecking Ball. I guess we can start to bump people down now. Ramatra's perks might even be better than... Yeah. Ramatra's perks are crazy. Vengeful Vortex is crazy. It basically full control on your Vortex with 50 extra damage. And then you have basically even more damage on your Omnic form. And your other minor and major aren't terrible. There are situations where it's okay. But yeah. It's good. Ram's perks are crazy. Ram's perks are crazy enough. You can always tell a character's perks are strong enough when they impact little shifts in the meta. You know, you see a little bit more, you saw a little bit of Bastion being played, a lot more Bastion being played and ranked at the highest level when perks came out. You started to see a little bit of Lucio creeping back in here. Doomfist one-tricks were feasting. Not in pro play, but they were able to do stuff. You see Ram doing stuff they otherwise couldn't do. You see a little Sim here and there. You see Soldier being played occasionally. Sojourn kind of comes back with her 150 rail, you know. All of the perks, but if 2 perks, like, let's put it this way. We're judging all the perks as, like, being but we're heavily emphasizing the ones that are mostly picked. Kiriko is a great example. If we were judging all the perks in a vacuum, Kiriko probably wouldn't be in the top 5 because her other major and her other minor are just kind of mid, right? They're okay, but they're just not that good. Whereas Bastion doesn't really have a bad perk. But the problem is that Kiriko has no reason to pick the other 2 perks. She's just going to pick the 2 best perks and dominate everybody. So if you have 2 perks that you basically always choose, but you have 2 other options that are situationally pretty decent, you get some bonus points. Like for example, everyone always rates moving barrage, but the other minor perk is actually pretty decent and situationally better than moving barrage. Same thing goes for their other major perk. It's just that, so that does count as something. In which situation is a healing vortex prefer the 50 damage explosion vortex? I don't know. I don't know. I guess if there is literally no backliner that you can touch, they're too far away. But like, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Probably not many, if any, at all. But I haven't tested every single scenario. And on paper, 75 health per second, which is a lot more than 50, right? How long does vortex last? 2 seconds? 2.5 seconds? 3 seconds. I mean, that's 225 healing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you can't. And I don't know if that's ult charge or not, but maybe somebody could test that. So yeah. Lifeweaver. It's really good. Again, it's another one of those set of perks that's just pushing the character up near the top. Damage is really good. 10 healing per second is really good. He's better. Probably has. I mean, oh man, I feel like Lucia is probably too high in this list. Actually, I'm gonna shift this son of a gun down now. It's really good. They're not flashy or fancy, but it's really good. So I'll keep them here. Grip, cleanse with reduced cooldown is also good. I don't think so. I don't think it's in any circumstance better than 10 healing per second. It's only 4 seconds reduction. And it forces you to use your grip on somebody that needs cleansing if you want the reduced cooldown. It's very niche. All right, what's going on? Is only me lagging? It doesn't look like it's lagging on my end. So if you are YouTube, just refresh. Sorry. Bitrate looks okay on my end, so we've been pretty good so far. Ediari, probably like C. They're okay. Her ult perk is pretty significantly good. Her outburst perk and her other perk is decent situationally as well. Maybe even above these. I'd put it here. It's solid. Mauga. Given any thoughts about Ralph's code? Not publicly, no. I don't know, guys. I think Overrun is really good. Man, maybe Overrun is. It's really Overrun is the big one. Overrun is the big one. So we'll pull up the perks really fast here. The other perks are kind of mid. Like you have, where is it? Reload while running, which is like okay. 2 hearts, which means you cap objectives faster, which is okay. There's overhealth on critical on cardiac which is pretty decent for overhealth. But the big one that people want is the overrun ignites enemies hit. And you can reapply both the charge and the stomp. So it's a lot of burn. I want to say it's like 70 burn or 60 burn or something like that. I don't remember exactly how much the burn's for, but it's basically just overrun. It's the problem is that he just doesn't have a really strong perk set besides overrun. So it's really just that one perk. Whereas I think all the characters above him right now have like probably better minor perks. So I'm happy to put him here, I guess, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm not really ordering these within the letter. I'm kind of, but not really. The problem with the Malga overrun perk is that it's really good when it's really good, but it doesn't change things too much when it's not good. If you have a lot of CC to deal with and you have to be really selective about your engages, you're not going to be getting consistent value out of it like you would be with a lot of the other major perks in this set. It's like you will use it consistently, but you won't be able to kind of use it at will. I get that, Nodlin. I get that. But again, I'm just not convinced that it's something that's easily accessible, first off. And nor am I convinced that it's always consistently going to just solve your problems like a lot of these other perks do. I'm just not. It's good. It's really good. But you're also coming from the point of like that's basically all you were trying to leverage. Of course. Let's try and let's see if that works. What the frick?